Hello everyone, and this is a small tutorial on how to create sort of like a magic effect in Houdini. So it's based on some of the many sort of VFX and magic type shots that I've seen done in Unity or Unreal. So this is my attempt at sort of recreating one of those. It's primarily based on this effect that I saw. Okay, like that's the final result. Okay, this is the final result that I ended up with. Okay, so this is what we will be creating. Okay, before we get started, just a small announcement. The Black Friday Cyber Monday sale is currently going on my website, rohandalvi.net, and there's 40% off on all the Houdini trainings. The code is Friday. So if you're interested in any of my Houdini trainings, you can take a look at that. The link will be given below in the description. Okay, so to get started, the effect is essentially three things. There's the sphere in the middle, and then there's like the shockwave thing on the outside. And then you have these particles which sort of flow along with the sphere. One of the things I wanted to try was to not use particles to do the particles. Okay, so I wanted to try and figure out a way that it would be more real time, so I won't have to run it through a simulation. All right, so to get started, I'm just going to start with a simple sphere, and I'll make it, relatively big, make it polygon, and I'll give it about 40 in frequency. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is, this is primarily a texture based effect, but we're going to do it completely at SOP level. So we'll be building textures using the nodes that are available in Houdini. So the first thing is you need to give it some UV mapping. Okay, so take a UV texture, make sure that you set it to points, and because the noise nodes that are available in Houdini, they work on point level, and UVs primarily go to vertex, so you have to make sure that you change it to points. Okay, and then keep this to polar, so you get this. Okay. Now, the second thing is I just want half of it, so I'm going to do a clip. So we'll clip this. Okay, so there you go. This is what we have. So the next step is we wanted to sort of, do one more thing. Just turn on fixed boundary seam. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It will sort of have a seam at the back. So just make sure you view it from the other side. Okay, like it's not going to be seamless. Okay, so the first thing is we want these textures sort of, twist and flow along. Okay, so the simplest way is you take a twist. Okay, so take a twist node, and we are going to set this to 1 in the y-axis, and we'll just twist it to, let's try 360, okay, or maybe 180 might be okay. Okay, let's try 180, and then if it's not fine, then we'll, increase it later. And we don't want to see the UV texture map. So what you want to do is press D and turn off show UV map. Okay, like previously you had to take the UV quick shade node. Now it's inbuilt into the viewer itself. So just make sure that you turn this off if you don't want to see it. Okay, so the first step is take a noise node. Okay, so take an attribute noise, and this will default generate color. But what we want is, I want to generate a float attribute. We'll call it mask. So I'll just create float, and I'll call it mask. And you'll stop seeing it. So click on the eye and then click on mask, and you'll see it. Okay, the second thing is we'll set it to set. And what I want to do is you want to change the location attribute from position to UV, and there you go. Okay, so that gives you immediately what you want. So then we sort of make a few changes. So the first thing is you want to adjust the element size, come into offset, and we will have to animate one of these. I'll just keep it to around, let's try 90 frames, or I had done like 72, so we'll do about 72 frames. And what you want to do is take the offset, and we'll do at time, and let's see what we get. Okay, so this is like it starts to spin around, and let's also take the y-axis, and we'll do at time divided by 2. Let's see what we have. See, there you go. So now it's sort of, spinning around like that. and I can take the element size and we can try to sort of, squeeze it so you get more of these. So click on this XYZ over here. That will give you controls for individual axes. Okay, and so we get this. See, there you go. If you want it a little faster, we can increase the offset time. So I can make this into 2 and I'll remove the division here. So it will be a little bit faster. Yeah, okay. This is completely up to you. Okay, let's keep it slow enough. I think that was fine. And then if you want, you can also turn on animate and we can lower the pulse duration. So you'll get, something a little more varying like this. Now I want to lower the fractal amount, or you can try something else. Okay. And then enable remap, and we'll just kind of, adjust the remap like this. And I can lower the amplitude. Let's make the 0.3. Okay. Yeah, I think that's okay. If you don't want it, like we can turn off the fractal, which is, no, I think fractal is fine. You'll just lower the octaves. Yeah, I think this is okay. Let's try into 1.5. So it goes a little bit faster. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. So this is good. Okay, so this gives me the basic mask that I want. Okay, the next step is I want to displace it. So we'll take a warp node. We'll take an attribute warp. I'll call it, let's call this as mask noise. And we'll call this as displace. Yeah. So this will be fairly simple. We don't have to do too much here. Take a displace along normal and take a bind and we'll call it mask. So just plug this into amount and there you go. Okay, so and then we're going to promote the scale. So we'll be able to get some control at SOP level. Okay, so just lower it till it's just about that much. Yeah, I think this is fine. See, so we have an ice cream right now. Okay. And it's okay. I mean, you're getting a little bit of a seam there, but it's fine. I mean, it's not too bad. Okay, so this is done. This is our basic thing. And the next thing we want to do is, I want it like slightly faded. Like let's say the dark patches in the mask or the flat patches, they'll be like transparent. So we can use an alpha. Let's just come in here. We'll adjust it a little bit more. So what you can do is, firstly, let's try to do a color so we can see what we're getting. So just take the color and set it to mask, do ram from attribute mask. Okay. And without doing too much, you can try to set it to two-tone. That looks okay. Or you can try to set it to viridis. That's not bad either. So you can sort of try a couple of them. Okay. Like Inferno isn't bad. Inferno is fine. So I'll set it to two-tone and I'll just sort of spread it out a bit, like that. Yeah. And just push this in. I'll set this a little bit towards orange and I'll take the intensity and make it about 3. So it's, really glowing like that. And let's take the background to dark. Yeah. Okay, so this is as far as, like the basic color is concerned. Yeah, I think I want to remove, I made a small change there. Let's get rid of this. Yeah. And then what I can do is, I can come in here, I can take a float. So I can take an attribute at just float. And I can just set it to alpha. We'll say set always. I'll set it to alpha. Alpha, the A is capital. And set this to remap attribute and there you go. So it by default picks up mask. So you're kind of, set with that. So I can just keep it to this. See, so you have like, transparency in the middle. Okay, and what you can do is, because if you want the viewport to look a little better, it's trying to put a specular on it. So just go to this mode, which is flat shaded. So that will look a little bit better. Yeah, there you go. That's nice. And if you don't want to see the background, you can come in here and come to optimize and say remove back faces. So you'll just see the front. So that makes it look, proper the way it should. And you can just change this a little bit. Yeah, okay. So there you go. Okay, so this gives you, the basic effect that you want. Okay, the next step is we want to create these particles. Okay, so how do you go about creating those particles, which is sort of a little more tricky. Okay, so what I wanted to do is, as I said, I don't want to use particles. Okay, so we're going to do roughly something similar, but I'll take a tube. Okay, so the first thing is I want them to move, right? And that's the big thing, right? How do you get them to move? Okay, because one of the ways you can do it is you move one object and then you copy it onto points and do like a for each, and you can do like randomization and stuff. That is one way to go about doing it, but that's still a lot of work. So I decided to figure out something else. So what you do is you take a tube, give it some segments, and make it slightly long, and then take a transform and we're going to move it. Okay, so I'll take a transform and I'll just keep it down here, and I'll come to 72, or hold on, first we'll do an alt click here. I'll come to 72 and I'll just move it up like that. So what you'll get is this. Okay, now we can adjust it later, but just make sure that we make it sort of linear like that. The next step is I only want some points out of this. I don't want all of them. So I'm going to take a sort and I'll randomize these. Okay, so I'm just going to take these and set it to random. And then I'll take a delete and I'm going to set it to we can do delete by range, and we'll pick up points. See, so you'll get this. So once we've done this, I'll just keep it to points or whatever. Okay, yeah. So now I'll take a clip. So I'm going to take a clip because we just want like a middle section of this. So if I look at this, see, so this is here and that's my sphere, and it sort of moves upwards till about there. Okay. So I'm going to take a clip. Okay, this is fine. And then take another clip and we'll change it to primitives below plane and just increase the distance. So what you'll get is, see, you get like these points that are moving through it. Now before this, I also want to do a slight point jitter on it. Okay, so take a point jitter and drop it in there. Yeah. So you'll get it sort of, moving like this. The problem is if you do a point jitter afterwards, it might flicker because the point numbers will vary. See, so you'll start getting this. So we don't want that. Okay, so this is fine. Of course, we don't want that much. So let's just lower it a bit. Okay. Okay, now comes the other bit, which is I wanted to fit on a sphere. Okay, because this is supposed to sort of, flow along the sphere. But before that, like since we're doing this now, is we also wanted to sort of, swirl. So we're going to take the same twist and bring it here. So do Control C, Control V and drop it in over there. And so what you'll get is, you'll get this. Okay, just increase the capture length. Yeah, there we go. And let's make it around 360. So what you'll have is this, see. And if we do an add and delete the points, you will get points swirling around like that. So that's pretty cool. Okay, like that solves a basic problem of how to move points without particles. Not the smartest way to do it, but it works. Okay, now the only thing left is we wanted to move along the sphere. So let's take a race op. Okay, I'll do it before the twist, and I'll take this sphere here and drop it in. Okay, and then just set it to minimum distance, and hopefully that should work. What you'll get is this, see. So you get these points that move along over here. And if I come into my tube and I increase the number of points, see. So you'll get like a nice bit of, twist and movement happening there. Okay. Now the one thing I can also do is before the add. Okay. Now this has to be done before the add because the add deletes the geometry. What we can do is we can give it a mountain sop so that like right now it's flat on this, right? And what I would like, if I remove the point jitter, you'll see that it actually, you'll be able to see like a pattern going through it. So the point jitter helps sort of break up the pattern. Okay, so as I said, like before the add, we can do a mountain sop. So the mountain sop will just, break it up and give it some displacement. So the points will then be, sort of displaced over it. So they won't like be sticking to the sphere. Okay, then for the color, now we want to do a couple of things, right? I also want the points to fade as they go along it. So what I can do is after the clip over here, I can give it a float attribute. So we can say attribute just float. We'll call this mask. And I'm going to generate a mask, which is fine. Do set always, set it to line. And let's say if we can visualize this. Yeah. And we'll set it to 1 in the y-axis. Yeah, there you go. And just sort of, space it out like this. And then here, I'm just going to set this to B-spline and B-spline. Set both of these to 0 and this to 1. So you'll get everything in the middle to be visible, and then everything, like once it's at the bottom and top, it will just fade out. Okay. And in the add, what I can do is like get rid of, like stop visualizing this. If I take another float to generate the alpha, I can do set always, and we can set it to remap attribute, and there you go. So it's using the mask, and so we can just have, see, so only the points in the middle are visible. So you'll get this, and then they fade out at the bottom and the top. Okay, so you get like a nice little effect like that. Okay. Okay, and then for the color, I can just take an attribute transfer. So just take an attribute transfer, and I'll just pick up the color from here. I just want to keep it to CD and plug it in, and there you go, you get the colors. And I can also keep this to P scale. Yeah, and set this to P scale. And we can copy a sphere on it. So just take a sphere, but keep it to primitive. Okay, because primitives sort of go faster. And then do a copy to points. Let's do it after. Yeah, okay. Primitive. Okay. And then just keep it really tiny. So what you'll get is this. See. So if we merge these two together, we get this. Yeah, there you go. See, what you can do is we can take this and sort of transform it a bit. Sorry, in the ray sop. Like take the ray sop, and then we can sort of just scale it up a little, so it's not that low. And in the mask, I can try to sort of like, yeah, there you go. See, so I can kind of adjust the curve a little. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So let's do the final piece, which is the base, which is essentially the same thing, except we are doing it on a plane. Okay, so just to show you, like I'll pick up the basic from here itself. So what I have is, I have a line with a sweep, and that has UVs in it. So if I say compute, if I tell it to show the UVs, you'll see it. See, there you go. So this has UVs, because you can just turn on compute UVs in the sweep itself, so it works. And then because these are generated at vertex level, I did like an attribute promote from vertex to point. So I'll just copy this with that much. Okay, so I'll just do, okay, I'll take this, we'll do Control C and come in here, do Control V. Okay, so where it is, okay, there we go. Let me just get till the clip here. Okay, this is fine. So now what you want to do is take a transform, and we're going to place it here, and I'm just going to move it till this point. Okay, and then take a bend, and we are going to set it to 1 in the capture direction in X and 1 in the Z for the up vector, and bend it. Okay, like increase the length till it's, you know, all the way till there, and then just like take the bend to 360. So you'll get this, you'll get a circle. Just increase it till it sort of merges together, and then adjust the capture origin till it fits. There you go, done. Okay, so now we need to set up, you know, the whole thing again. So firstly, I'm going to set up the, I want to fade it vertically like this. So I'm going to take the same mask that we have here. So I'll just do Control C, Control V. This is all happening before the bend. Okay, but this will be in the, let's do it before the transform itself. Yeah. So this will be in the Z axis. Let's do 1. Yeah. Or -1. Actually 1 should be fine, because we just wanted to be in the middle over there. So we'll just keep it there. Yeah. And we can visualize it. So this is fine, except it should be like that. Like it fades towards the edges like this. Okay, the second thing is I want a noise map on it. So let's take, let's do this after the bend, because we're going to set it on the UVs anyways. Okay, hold on, sorry. Yeah, the compute UVs was off. Okay. Okay, so take a noise again. We'll take an attribute noise, and yeah, let's turn off the mask temporarily. Yeah, we'll set this to float, set it to mask. Yeah, let's turn that on. Okay, so it is, let's do a multiply. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And what we want to do is, again, the position, you can sort of try, like we can just switch on animate and see if that works or how that works. But no, like I wanted to move, let's say if you wanted to move outwards, then we have to sort of modify it based on UVs. Okay, so again, change this to UV. See, so you'll get this. And what I want to do is take the element size and make it, make it small in the x-axis and stretch it in the, sorry, make it small in the y and stretch it in the x. There you go. And then we can take the offset and you can offset it in the x. See, so it moves in or out. So I can do like minus at time, and that will give you this. See, but let's do a divided by 2 or divided by 4. Okay, sorry, animate noise was on for some reason. Yeah, okay, so divided by 2 should be okay. Yeah, there you go. And we can lower the element size. This is also a nice way to make an iris if you want. Okay, and then let's just adjust this a little, so we'll keep it like that. Okay, and the rest is pretty much the same. You can actually just do a copy paste. So we can take, all 3 of these, do Control C, Control V, and just drop it in here, and you should get that. There you go. and it should be displaced. See, so if I take the displace value and move it up a little bit, see, and we can merge them together. So what you get is this. We can probably lower the roughness here. So just take the fractal and lower it. Yeah, and we can turn on animate noise, but increase the pulse duration. So it's a little bit slower like that. But there you go. See, so you have a nice little, I don't know, glowy effect or something. I can try to bring this in a little. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another lesson on trying to render this, because this is just in the viewport. Okay, so that I'll do tomorrow. I'll probably use Octane because that's the one I use. But since it's just taking attributes into a shader, the techniques should be applicable to anything. Okay, but I'll do that tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. So once again, just as a reminder, the sale is still going on my website. So if you're interested, you can take a look at that. And that's pretty much it.